Tired of winning the tailgate, but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
So, you miss 1 week, Zimmy, and I start dressing different. That's what happens on this podcast.
And no kidding. I'm still learning how to do video podcasts. I gotta fix my hair, fix my teeth, and you put collared shirts on. Good for you.
Well, I had just went on a kind of a family thing with my girlfriend's family, so
It must be nice.
I just decided why not. Yeah.
I watched high school basketball. They booed me out of the gym. I was telling kids to box out better. Get out of here. I said, it's a 30-point game. Start boxing out. They kicked me out. It's fine.
I wanted to ask you, when did you drop Texas State sports pres? Or are you still the sports pres? Or did you get impeached?
I gave it up when I left because I thought somebody else would take that really cool nickname, and nobody else seems to want it. So until, they decide to get a new one, I'm just the czar of sports at Texas State, I guess. Also, branding at Texas State, I should teach a class on that because a lot of these kids, good journalists, they don't know how to sell themselves. You know what I mean? I was out here telling people I was a big deal, the big kahuna, the biggest fish in the pond, not knowing I wasn't even in a pond. I was in a river. People need to jump on that. That's on them. That's fine.
Well, Zimmy, I teased last night about we had a big plan for this recruiting pod. It was actually all mapped out and everything. And then, life happens, but whatever. And so I ended up just talking about contracts all last night, pretty much. And we still have to talk about recruiting because it's ongoing. It actually worked out better for us tonight to talk about it because the Bobcats signed a guy literally 2 hours ago. And so this is just kind of an ever-developing situation like recruiting is.
Breaking news. I think that's going to be like every podcast that we do. It's going to feel like we got done and then 2 hours later, an hour later, a day later, a new person signs, which is good. This is something that Texas State fans are not used to, I think. New head coach. But, let me ask you, Jacob, when we signed a guy just down the road at Incarnate Word, did you think he was going to bring his whole team with you? Because I had a sneaking suspicion he was. I'm really impressed, though, that he was like, hey, we scored like 1 billion points this year. Let's see if that works in the Sun Belt.
I thought he was going to bring all of his coaches, and I was pretty sure, that was going to happen. And then when we all figured out Lindsey Scott was, an 8-year senior or whatever he was, we were like, well, he's not coming for sure. It makes sense that he's bringing all his big boys, though, because he knows those guys.
They know the playbook?
Yeah, exactly. He knows what they want him to do, basically.
It's funny that, maybe this is another thing that Texas State can kind of take, a page out of the book. You know what I mean? When we hired Withers, I don't remember if he brought a lot of his JMU players. I know Spavital didn't really bring anybody. I think he kind of brought some quarterbacks he had been talking to while, the OC other places. This is kind of cool. You get a head coach from the area that brings their entire coaching staff and the players that were really good. I mean, it's an added bonus to GJ, who we already kind of thought was, a pretty good head coach.
This guy was recruiting the entire time he was at UIW, and he was recruiting for UIW, obviously, right? They're on the road to the national championship. They lose to the Bison, controversial play. He's like, you know what? All these plans I had for UIW, we're taking it up the road.
I'll be curious because this really will answer a lot of questions that I have been having as a person who covers the Bison on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And as somebody who covered Sunbelt football and still does a lot with the Sunbelt football, watches it every single week. I always had the wondering, question, could an FCS team come into the Sunbelt and, really compete? We saw JMU do it this year in the East. They had a chance to win the East if they didn't have the weird bowl eligibility rules that we have in the NCAA. If Incarnate Word version Texas State 2.0 now, if they compete and actually win games in the West with what Kenny's doing and with the players that he had, I think that the gap between the Sun Belt and the Power 5 is as small as it's been ever, I think. I think the Sun Belt's really a really good group of 5 conference. The gap between the FCS and FBS football is really small too, maybe at the highest level, which is really cool to think about.
Assuming Texas State does well, which is now, I should preface, it should be the Incarnate Word of Texas State University.
Yeah, no kidding. The Texas State Cardinals.
The Texas State Cardinals. Who and this is a good point that other people have made. Kev, Colton, Cat's Corner guys. But
The
these,
actual journalist.
yeah, the guys that boots on the ground, guys,
Uh-huh.
laces up. But
Capital J journalist.
capital
David
J
J's
journalists
over
everywhere
here. Yeah.
have been saying that some of those Cardinals beat the Bobcats at home that one year. They were part of that team.
That was a bad Texas State game, though. Like,
They're all bad, Zimmel. I'm going to be honest with you.
it's easy. Well, I'm just saying it's easy now, like in hindsight, to just look at the box score and be like, ho, 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 Incarnate Word beat Texas State. But that wasn't like a Texas State team that like did what they needed to do. You know what I mean? Like it was like week by week basis, like what Texas State are we gonna get? So congrats to Incarnate Word for beating us, but like it doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, the team that beat App State, you think they lose to Incarnate Word? I don't think so.
That's
but
true.
it's just how it is.
Well, I think we would lose to Lindsey Scott Jr. That's the thing.
Maybe I don't want to say that, but yeah, probably.
Okay.
I don't like dogging on the team as much as people think that I loved being like a negative Nancy. I don't enjoy it. It's just like I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not dogging on this team. I'm dogging on the teams of the past.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
Well, so we have 23 new signees. What is that? Like a third of the team, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, we talked about it. It's like a third of the team. Really impressive at this point. Like if you would have told me by 2023, like this date, that we would have 23 signees, I'm like, that's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that.
And that's just the number side, right? So if I told you we had 23 signees, it's like one thing. But if I told you one of them is a 4-star quarterback, we have a couple like standouts on the defensive side.
Now, did you lay out this
We
argument?
have GJ's entire fucking offensive line. Yeah.
Did you lay out this argument yesterday? Because I missed it. That stars don't matter. Is that what we're jumping into here?
Not yet. No.
Lay it out for me, Jacob, because I think this is a bad argument, but I'm here to take it. I'm here. I
think it's my short man complex too. Is that is that people have my whole life have been literally and physically rated above me in stature. But I think stars typically don't matter. Now, if you compare Malik Hornsby to Tyler Jones, obviously that's a huge discrepancy. But yeah, I think generally stars don't matter. Like the difference between a 3-star and a 4-star, or say a 5-star and like whatever Arch Manning is, like a super 5-star.
So my pushback to this, and for fans at home, the star rating system that is like composited on 24/7 Sports, and I think Texas high school football has it as well. It's a really good benchmark to see like what type of talent they are. What type of talent they are. So if you play at, let's call it Medina High School in Texas, right? Medina, that tiny school, is like 6A football, and you're a 2-star recruit from there, maybe that's part because you're playing 6-man football. And maybe if you're playing for O'Connor in San Antonio, you might be a 6-star or a 5-star because, hey, you played at 6A school and your team's pretty good, right? So sometimes where you were playing your high school football, that does affect the stars. For the average college football fan, the star rating is a pretty good way to tell what type of talent you're getting. Because I have these numbers here, Jacob. Allegedly, this is according to 24/7 Sports, a total of 41% of 5-stars that sign with Power 5 schools end up going to the NFL. At least once in their life. And 10% of 2-stars end up going to the NFL. So, it's not a perfect way. There's not like a scientific method to it, but it is a pretty good way to judge talent. If 24/7 Sports says to me that this is a 4-star guy, I'm inclined to believe that he's going to be a pretty talented player.
Well, 24/7 and also other outlets too at this point do retroactive stars too. Like, oh, he was originally graded as a 2, but he's balling out of control right now. He's
a 3.
Yeah,
put in the work.
He put in the work. Or the inverse of that, right? He was a 5-star and he's horrible. We hate this guy. He should not hold the football ever. He's a 2.
But do you think that's going to happen? Like, when do you think that the odds of that happening? That you get the Texas State gets a 4-star and turns out he's a 2? Like, I don't think that it's that good.
I think the rate at which that happens is like too fast to like care really. Like, because by the time we're like, oh, he wasn't even that good. Like, he's already graduated. He has a kid. Like, who cares? Like.
Yeah, that's completely fair. 5-year reunion, 10-year reunion. You're saying, hey, remember when this quarterback was here? He wasn't even that good. And you're like, oh, actually, I Googled him. he was a 4 when he came. Now he's a 2, whatever. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. I just think that for fans at home, like I think that you should be excited that Texas State got 4-star, and you should be excited they got a couple 3-stars as well. That this is something to turn your nose up at.
And some big like programs too. I think that's what I get most excited about is like where these people came from originally, right? Like Dan Foster Jr. He came from Marshall, obviously a very great program, huge history.
Sunbelt program.
Sunbelt program, exactly. And he tweeted about that too. Hashtag Funbelt. Darius Jackson came from Missouri, So
now,
I get more excited when I see bigger schools. Joshua Eaton, Oklahoma.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Jacob. You don't worry that they couldn't cut it at this Power 5 school or couldn't cut it at like a Sunbelt East school, and now they're coming to Texas State? That doesn't concern you?
I think like it kind of just comes down to like what you want to get out of the program. If you think that taking a step down in, play level gets you a better shot at the NFL and, generational wealth, and it helps the Bobcats, hey, come on down.
I agree with you. I usually do not care very much where somebody comes from. Every once in a while, it's somebody fun, like a player who played at University of Texas or somebody coming from A&M or something like that. I don't get that excited for a Marshall transfer or say an Arkansas transfer or something like that. That doesn't excite me a ton. But that's just me.
What about Brady? If Brady came back.
Brady's been tweeting. Shout out to Brady McBride. Brady's been tweeting a lot like he's going to go into coaching, which I hope that he does, but kind of like concerned. I'm like, brother, you still have a little bit of playing time left. Like you still can compete. Why are we tweeting like we're going to be a GA somewhere? Like let's
well, because he's living the guy's life
vicariously through Chase Bryce. Like I said, I'm here for it. That's my buddy. We talk every week. We kind of tease who we're going to bring on the podcast. If I can get Brady, that'd be a fun hang because he and I can team up on you.
And then I'll bring Bilo next week. Oh, and I'll bring Nigel too.
Bilo and I are friends. I like Bilo.
Yeah, Bilo's awesome. Shout out Bilo. Yeah, he also tweeted about just kind of what was going on at Texas State too. He said, I don't know if these guys can play. Obviously, we haven't seen these guys as a unit together. We won't see that until the spring game. Perhaps we show up at a practice or two. And by we, I mean me, Cyber Lee, because that's a long drive, San Antonio, San Marcos.
Well, okay. I was going to say, speaking of Bilo, tell him to tweet about the podcast. Get some traction there.
No NIL money here. Sorry.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Hey, that's why I'm in the college shirts now. So did you, when you looked at this list, I know for me, it was immediately Malik. I fell in love with him, just like Alonzo Sule. I was also going through his Twitter. Good. Okay, what can I do to get his attention?
Thirsty girls. I'm fine. No, none of these guys, I'm somebody at this point, I'm jaded. I need to see production on the field. I get more, I'm more drawn to what can you do on the field. And, we'll see what that looks like in the spring game. We have a couple weeks, couple months actually, before we can see what that looks like.
Well, I know you like big boys and you cannot lie. So.
I do. I like them three stacks. Get a couple of guys out there. Got them pancakes. I'm here for it.
Do you like the brothers move again? We got the two brothers again are they on different sides of the ball or the same sides of the ball? Can't remember.
It might be the same side. I'm not completely sure though. But no, I like the brothers move. I think that it's I think that works.
Same side.
And you've had your sibling work with you at the University Star in the past, and I've had my siblings hang out with me doing sporting events before, like helping me run the cameras and stuff. It's kind of fun. It's fun to have somebody that you've been around your whole life, and now you're going through this thing too. And every war movie that we ever see is like, oh, isn't this cool? The brothers in arms type of thing. But this is biological brothers. You know what I mean? Like all the war, cliches that we use for the game of football, like the gridiron, stuff like that. I think that's cool. I like that.
For reference, all three of the Zimmel brothers went to different Texas schools too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I went to Texas State. Jesse went to UTSA, and Ryan is at A&M, fighting Aggie.
I'm a second generation Bobcat. So
you know what's funny? Jesse was the only one that didn't care that much about football, and he has the most successful football program at UTSA. Isn't that something?
He went to his first game, right? That was his.
He went to his first game of the conference championship. against UNT. Yeah. And then one of his friends got tickets to go to the bowl game. And I was like, "Are you going to go to the bowl game?" He's like, "No, it's too far." I said, "Okay."
Okay.
Texas State went to a bowl game. I would sell my kidney to go, but you do you.
Yeah, I would definitely go. Do you think it's possible that Texas State wins a bowl game before UTSA?
It's possible. Is it likely? Yes. And here's why. Because UTSA currently is one of the 3 or 4 best Group of 5 programs, which means they either have to play a middle of the road Power 5 team in a bowl game, or they're going to play another great Group of 5 team in a bowl game. And that's like the Group of 5 Super Bowl like we saw this year against Troy. So they're always going to be matched up against pretty tough competition, whereas Texas State probably will get a middle of the road Group of 5 team when they finally go to a bowl game. Let's say it's this year, maybe next year, right? We'll get a middle of the road Group of 5 team. Let's say, Ball State. We could beat Akron. We could beat Ball State. We could beat a middle of the road team, a MAC team. That could totally happen. I'm here for it.
And we're always on Twitter too, so we see a bunch of weird takes. Sometimes they're good. A lot of times they're bad.
Do we want to do a corner where it's like worst Twitter take?
Yeah, never tweet again takes. Yeah, I'll start keeping my eye on it. But I saw a lot of people immediately going, well, Kenny's going to be a one-year wonder, and he's going to bounce. He's going to either go, he's going to get an OC job in the NFL, or he's going to, get a better job somewhere else. We do know that from my contract work yesterday, he cannot get another job in the Sun Belt during this contract term.
That's an obvious one. Jacob, you sent me a rundown, as a good producer does, of what we were going to talk about on the podcast. And it says Kenny leaving. And you know what my note on that is? You want to hear it verbatim?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no way that shit happens. Ain't no way that happens. Because here's why. A, Texas State, to turn it around like the way that you want to turn it around, it's not a one-year fix. That's the first obvious answer. Thing number 2 is that even if he does turn it around in a one-year fix, there is not a single program in this country of ours that would sign a Texas State head football coach after a one-year turnaround. No way, no how that would happen.
Well, it's technically a 2-year turnaround if you include his head coaching experience at UIW.
You
now,
don't.
The University of the Incarnate Texas State.
You don't. Here, you have to be so freaking good at the FCS level to get a head coaching job, or even a coaching job in the power of the football bowl subdivision, right? There's no way. FBS. You have to be great. Chris Kleiman, North Dakota State, took him forever. Got to K-State. Craig Bull took him forever at North Dakota State to go to Wyoming, right? No way did a guy who didn't win anything at Incarnate Word, like anything of real substance, no national championships, no appearances in the national championship at Incarnate Word. No way would that guy in 2 years end up a head coach at another school. Fans, enjoy this guy, because on the best case, he's here 3 years, maybe 4. Worst case, it would have to be really, really bad for Texas State to get rid of him after 1 year. We're talking really, really, really bad. I'm not even going to say it on the podcast. That's how bad it would have to be. He enjoy it because he's around. Let's start printing the T-shirts with the face on it, because you're going to get 3 or 4 years out of him. He's going to be here for a while.
I also just want to congratulate the coaching staff too for proving us wrong, and that cringe tweeting does work. Because obviously they're marketing themselves in the program extremely well, despite it's a very strong hashtag, right? Take Back Texas, but everything around it, hit or miss.
Incredible hashtag. This is essentially if the chess club had to come up with a marketing strategy. Because let's be honest here, I don't think a lot of people have taken the chess grandmaster to prom. That's kind of what this Texas State coaching staff tweets like. But Take Back Texas is incredible. That's I don't know who crowdsourced that. I don't know where they came up with that. If they did a market research thing, it's genius. I love it. Yeah, so much better, so much more better, so much better than Party in the End Zone. Love it so much more.
I actually do like Party in the End Zone. I used it on our very first podcast just because I was just throwing things out there, trying to see what stuck to the wall. And I always really like that one, obviously because of the party aspect. I like that kind of
It's
rowdy
so
Southwest
it's
Texas.
so niche. It's so small to me. Like we
I
don't
also
win
feel like
enough.
that's just not Texas State's reputation anymore. It is
No. What
running
is the
towards
reputation?
it's aspiring athletic endeavor, and also, are we going to get our stuff together academically the way Kelly Danfus wants in his Run to R1 campaign?
I agree. I'm here for it. It
Kind
kind
of
of
like we
feels
woke up from that hangover and we're like, oh shit, what's everybody
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, it's kind of like the guy who graduates college and is like trying to find that first job. It's like, I guess I could be a car salesman. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'll work in an office. I don't really know. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I feel like we're in like the middle of like a transition, but it's taking a little bit longer than I'd like it to. I'd like to get off the mom and dad couch and, get my own place pretty
Yeah,
soon.
it was like a middle class family that kind of, their oldest son graduated and then he just kind of was like on their couch doing nothing. Maybe he was
Yeah.
a lifeguard or something. And
I identify with that guy. I don't like it.
yeah, and his parents finally kicked his ass
I
out.
kicked
He
his ass
made
out.
manager at the pool. He's starting to turn he's taking night classes. He's getting his stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a real estate agent.
He's going to be a real estate agent. So none of these guys. I should preface this. When I'm scrolling through my thing every single day, these guys have an update for us, which is great. But also, I guess because it's so like frequent, I'm missing that like, ooh, this could be cool because of this reason, or maybe it's because I'm not processing it in the moment.
Are you getting saturated? The market for Texas State news is getting too saturated for you. Too
Oh
much.
man, there's a
information
bunch of people you could get it from for sure.
Yeah,
including us.
Well, no, I meant just like the news, like it's a
the amount
steady
of news
stream of news, and it's hard to process all of it.
Well, that's what happens too when you get a new coaching system too. Like right, like everybody wants their story told, and obviously these guys know digital marketing at a very base level. Good.
Sure, I'm holding my compliments back. You can give them compliments. I'm holding mine back for like a little bit longer.
Hey,
show me this.
Whatever
Show me
puts
this in
ink
like
on paper, man.
Show me this in like June. If we're still at this level in like June, then I'll be like, wow, these guys are really kicking ass because it's like 6 months of this. But right now we've had like 2 months, 3 months of like relatively good marketing. Let's just give me 6. Give me 6 consecutive months of good marketing, and then I will give you compliments because you're doing your job right now. You're just baseline doing the thing that you get paid for. So I tend to not reward that as much as other people.
And there's different philosophies too in covering recruiting. For the longest time, I just didn't want to touch it because it's so intricate in that, like, what's a commitment versus what's a signee. But they saw that at Texas State with Joshua Eaton. They had to delete that entire tweet. It could have been something. I don't know. But sometimes things like that happen, or like there's a couple guys on our list that we were counting off who were not signed, and we had to kind of cross-reference that real quick with other people's lists. So to get to that 23 that we're all at now consensusly, and with the coaching staff and Texas State Athletics kind of fact-checking us the whole way.
Well, so it's like you have it on a notebook. I have it on a legal sheet. I know Colton and Kev have it like in a notes app on their phone. You know who has it on a whiteboard is Kenny. He's got a whiteboard full of names, and as these guys are coming, he's circling them, and as they're going other places, he's erasing them off the whiteboard. So that's the one that we care the most about. The whiteboard in the coach's office where he has a list of all these guys' names.
Yeah. It's kind of like covering a press conference, I feel, like either you get in or you ask your questions or you don't really care.
Yeah, I guess so. Every time I ask questions, though, they're mean to me.
No. Yeah, I should
don't
find
think
that press conference that you and Nigel. They made you a meme.
I look ourselves in the mirror. Like we not in panic mode. We not scared right now. We not about to cry too. Like, you know what I'm saying? We finna fight. So there's only 2 things that can happen when you fight. You can win or you can lose. You can stand up about it or you can lay down, but we're not gonna lay down, so we're gonna fight. I mean, that's on y'all straight take us, man. It's still who we are. Yeah, we lost. We lost 2 games in a row. Yeah, they hurt. You know what I'm saying? We was on a high horse, we got kicked right off. We're gonna look ourselves right in the mirror, we're gonna find out what we did wrong. We're gonna fight, we're gonna keep swinging. We fighters. We naturally fighters. We gotta keep playing hard, keep going hard. We're gonna find a way. This team, we not gonna lose 8 games in a row. We not going down. We are going to find a way. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I don't know why. I'm not that like combative. It's not like I'm asking like tough questions. It's kind of like, hey, what happened in the second half? I don't know.
Hey,
I saw what I saw, but
how
like
come you went 0 for 22 from the field?
yeah. How do you do that? Well, I'm watching high school basketball games up here, and like it's not the cream of the crop. Like it's it's North Dakota high school basketball, but like at least those guys can like make a shot. Like I mean, they might get like 1 for 15, but like it's no goose egg. I don't know. Whatever. Might be hard to score. Who knows? But you're the leading scorer all time. Whatever.
I think that kind of wraps it up for our recruiting end.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll end up talking about this like every single week from here until August. So it's going to come up like at least once a week.
We kind of mentioned little tidbits here and there, but this is our very comprehensive list of actually everybody who has signed up to this point.
Next week.
Not even mentioning most of them, by the way.
Yeah. Next week, we will do 2 things. 1, we will have worst tweet of the week. And 2, we will have a player. Each of us will have a different player that we are highlighting. Because if we have 23, there's content for you from here until the end of time. It's like every week we pick another guy to talk about. It's going to suck when it's like episode like 15 of that. And it's like, oh, well, this guy's a walk-on from Bastrop, and he's doing this. It's like, cool.
Well, thank God baseball's starting up pretty soon. So we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, we got that to look forward to. You think you can walk on?
Me?
Yeah.
Baseball.
Yep.
At what position?
I'm asking, could you just walk on? Could you
I could be a catcher.
think so?
Yeah. The little general, literally.
What's that in Spanish?
El general menor?
Okay. It's kind of a mouthful. I don't know if I'd want to say that.
Yeah, I'll ask my brother, Texas State Spanish graduate student.
Yeah. Well, ask him. What would be a cool
Spanish?
whatever.
Put it in the pod. What's up?
Put it in the pod. No, well, it's just that my question has always been like, how long do you think it would take you to walk on for like these sports? Like for basketball, for you, it would take like 6 years because you'd have to have like height surgery and then rehab
Mason
that.
Harrell is about the same height as me, and we have similar movie tastes too. No,
That's that's true. But he is very much quicker left to right than you are. Like very much. Like I'd say 100% faster left to right than you are.
Yeah. I think I can get down the field faster than him.
No, I don't think so.
No,
From end to end of the court,
yeah, and then
I think he could beat you by at least a full second, maybe 2.
He's pretty quick, dude.
So how long do you think it would take you?
He's
to walk
also
on
playing for his life right now, and the
Yes, he
fate
is.
of the team. So
He's putting the
really
team on
great
his back
shape this season.
Shout out to Mason Harrell, who is essentially just taking the team, putting it on his back, his very narrow shoulders, and just saying, "This is my team. I'm carrying it." Shout out to him. This is if they make some noise, then we can wrap it up. If they make some noise here, let's say late February, early March, right when things are getting like really heated, and because I'm gonna be honest, let's say February 13th or January 13th, I don't think this team gets out of the second round of the Sun Belt tournament. That's just like my take right now. I think they might get there. I don't think they get past that. There's too many good teams in the Sun Belt. But if they do, they play for a Sun Belt title, and it's because of his ass. Like shout out to him, man. Like he is doing everything he can to try to get this team to win.
Oh yeah, no, he's a Bobcat through and through. He's gonna get some sort of honor.
I'm scared because after he leaves, it's gonna be tough.
We're gonna need some transfers, TJ.
Well, I don't see a lot of. I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about it next week. But I don't see a lot of guys that are the way that Nigel was really good and Mason was a freshman, sophomore, and then like when he left, it was like Mason and Sule was pretty good, and they had a couple other pieces around him, Isaiah Small, and the other like pieces around him. And now it's like I don't see, right now. Currently, I do not see that second piece that's an underclassman or a junior that when Mason leaves next year comes into that role and we like take another step forward.
On the other end of the spectrum, are you enjoying seeing some of those seniors for Coach Z go out in style, kind of just dominating?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Coach Z, man, like I was really happy for her. She did a pretty good job. So I don't know if you talked about this yesterday. 12 years, she's averaging about 15 wins a year, which isn't like ideal, but also not bad. COVID weird year in 2021. Like, not a terrible deal.
Yeah,
Also,
you got to
did
give her
know-
1 year for that.
Did you know that Susan Fox still works at Texas State? I feel
I
like that was
she's
under
on the-
talked about.
She's on the board for
Yes.
the Women's Basketball Foundation.
And admissions too, I think. I think she works with students. So she coached for 14 years. Retired in 2011. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. So, all right, Jacob, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for doing this special podcast. Because
People thought we broke up yesterday too.
Really?
No, I'm making that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody can break up the dynamic duo like that.
Yeah, no, we paid $85 for that fucking logo. We're gonna do this podcast together.
I'll see you next week, Jacob. Thank you.
Later. Peace.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.